just see like just blackness. I was the laziest kid. My coach told me you're the laziest kid I've seen at this club in 15 years. Used to be the hardest thing I ever had a crack at. My nickname at the Crusaders early on was Credit Card.
Oh, that story's bullshit. That's not true. There's no way Marshy ever lifted 90 kilos.
Bench 180 was my best lift, and my squat was 205. That's an ass to the grass squat too. That's not a 90 degrees one. Now I'm in my world of with the stuff on the lines, all this sort of stuff. My last test, I'm 36, so I'm preparing, and I was like in a zone, and it's embarrassing to say, but it's out there. Yeah. The one thing about making mistakes is, hopefully you learn from them. So,
how was your anxiety during that time?
I shed a tear in them.
If they were here, your kids, what 3 words would you like them to use to describe you?
Get out of my face with that. I don't want to know about,
Did you feel bad about it later, or nah?
No. No.
Oh, good, you're here. Come on. This is the centre of performance. Whenever there's a top performance in New Zealand, it all comes from here. That's Lisa Carrington. She's been doing that for days. That's the boy who got the hole-in-one in Tokyo. Oh, he did it again. Hey, Finn, how's the performance going?
Top tier.
Nice. This is our Generate room. In here, you'll find our top performers helping Kiwis maximise their KiwiSaver investments. Get in here, Finn. Maximise. Right, Generate. Putting performance first.
Brad Thorn, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me, Dom. Very pleased to be here, mate. And happy birthday for the 3rd of February to both of us.
We're birthday twins, and I'm pretty sure that is all we have in common.
Well, mate, we're a couple of good-looking, blonde-headed, You're like a leaner version of me, I reckon. So.
Yeah, when I started doing my research for this podcast, and I realised we've got the same birthday, although I was born a couple of years before you, I thought our childhoods were probably quite similar. I'm from Palmerston North, you're from Mosgiel. Yeah. There's probably a lot of parallels and a lot that we've got in common.
Yeah. Well, what do they call us? Generation X, I think it is, and from what I read about Generation X, we get it, we get amongst it, and we're characters, I guess, and it's good seeing guys like yourself and others doing so well in this sort of stuff. So good on you, mate. Well done.
I reckon Generation X is probably the luckiest generation ever. Like, we remember life before the internet. We remember life before phones. We got to experience this new technology coming in. Yeah. But we remember what life was like beforehand, which the generations now don't.
70s, like I was 5 years old by 1980. So for me, it's more the 80s and the 90s, far out. It's just the best time. The best time. I loved all that era. Like I used to as a teenager, I'd go into books, shops, and there'd be the muscle magazines, bodybuilding, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was was movies, Predator, and you'd have all these movies. Stallone, you'd have these movies, Bloodsport, always the same thing where a guy has a training montage and then he has to fight the bad guy at the end, and they used to eat that up, and just all the music, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and that thing will possibly the same for you, but you didn't, you just went out and you just made sure you're home by dark, or, and mum and dad weren't really worried about it, and you'd go down to the creek or you'd be on your bikes. So I feel blessed to be in that time. And, the last 10, 15 years with the social media and all that sort of stuff, I guess it's a pretty hectic thing for the young people today. It was a bit simpler. Would you say simpler times, mate?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, kids these days will never know what it's like to be bored, properly bored. Yeah. We used to say, if we ever said to mum or dad, I'm bored, that mum would just be like, well, go outside and play. Yeah. And she'd lock the door. Yeah. We just have to go and do stuff in the cul-de-sac with other kids.
Yeah. I had real big imagination, and I loved my toys and stuff, and I had Star Wars Man, and I'd have before that I had Army Man, and different. I used to I'd go into a couple of hours of just playing with all my stuff, and then like you said, your mum and dad send you outside and you catch up with your mates, or you just find something to do, so make make swords, and you'd be doing all sorts of crazy stuff. It was cool. Yeah. I'm pleased I grew up in that.
Hey, I'm really pleased that you are here in person for the podcast. This is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you here. I outsourced a bit of information for the podcast. I reached around some previous podcast guests. I thought this would be a good icebreaker, a good way to get into the podcast. So I've got some messages here from people that you'll know very well, teammates and others. Kevin Mialamu.
Great man.
Yes, some of these are questions that people have given me to ask you, and others are just statements. So Kevin's got a statement. What a great man to learn how to be a professional from, a role model for everyone in the ABs. Work ethic, preparation, leading by example. I remember always seeing Thorny always taking care of his body, stretching in hotel hallways or in a team room after training, always with his shirt off. He had a huge rig.
Yeah, he's nailed it. Yeah.
2011, I remember getting ready for the Rugby World Cup quarters. He shared with us his mentality around playing many finals in the NRL. In his raspy voice, he'd say, "We only have one game ahead of us. Be in the now. Focus on today. Take care of today. Tomorrow is not promised." It set us up well for our 2011 Rugby World Cup journey.
Yeah, that was, I've always felt big on that. And for me, when I set a goal, I guess I'm fortunate, but I don't see anything past it. Like, I actually can't. It's not just, I try not to. It's just the way I'm wired. I just see, just blackness, and until that last minute, until I've earned the right to go further. And that's the mentality we needed. And that was a realistic mentality because, 4 years earlier, we had plan B for the semi. Guess what? You're not there. You're on a plane back to New Zealand because you've been knocked out in the quarters, and that is the mindset. World Cups are different to, the other tests in the 4 years leading in. It's everything's on the line, and you just need a team to turn up on the day, and the pressure comes on, and you can end up with a pretty disappointing World Cup. So, that's a ruthless mindset, just playing every moment. And that's probably the other thing is not seeing I see the game personally in many moments. I'm not dominated, or I don't feel pressure around the end result. I know if individually and collectively we do our jobs and we strive for excellence in it and we stick together and care about each other enough that with the talent we have, we'll get some reward. Usually we will. Sometimes you still might fall short, but for me, that's the other thing is just that first action. For me going into a test match, I'm just singing around the kickoff. Show my respect to the anthem. Show my from New Zealand, that means a lot. The anthem. Show my respect to the haka, such a great part of, the Maori culture and the who the All Blacks have been. But for me, it's kick-off. And whatever that is, receiving or kicking off, it doesn't have to be some big play, whatever it might be, just supporting on the inside or bringing some light speed, whatever. I'm giving everything to that task, and then again and again and again. And like I said, if you do that as a team with the talent that you have and your abilities, like I said, that care, you'll find you often get a good result at the end. You'll be and then that opens up that next week, and you've earned the right to look at that next week. Do you know what I mean? So.
What about when it doesn't work? I don't know why you put this in your book, Champions Do Extra, but you claim to have one of the worst State of Origin records. Yeah. 1 win from 11 games.
1 win, 1 draw. Yeah, I'll take. I got the draw, but
why did you bring that up in your own book?
Just to be real, just to because when you often I'll get introduced and they say, they say all these things that I've achieved, and he went from league to union, back to league, back to union. A big thing about my book is just saying, there's sayings, that guy's just built different, he just wins and all this stuff. Well, I was the laziest kid As a 14-year-old, I had my coach tell me, "You're the laziest kid I've seen at this club in 15 years." Guess what? Going from league to union was hard as. It was brutal. It tested me. It used to be the hardest thing I ever had a crack at until I did head coaching. State of origin, I'm a winner. I was a loser, probably one of the biggest losers, in the history of origin. Did it mean I wasn't putting in and I was, committed and all these sort of things? No, but I just want to be real, and otherwise I feel like if you just talk about all good things, then the person who's reading it, number one, it's reality. It doesn't all just go smoothly. So a lot of it, the whole book's around mindset and challenges and stuff. But just saying to whoever reads it, we all go through the same doubts and the same, challenges and the ups and downs. And, I was fortunate to have some good experiences, and it wasn't all just rosy and easy. It was a hard road. And anything that's worth achieving usually takes some commitment and some perseverance and just keeping in it, keeping in the challenge of it. So that's why I brought it up. I brought up other things. I brought up how I felt like I really cost the Crusaders in the 211 final. Like I said, I think I talked about my coach. He said I was the laziest kid. So it's just real. Number one, it's real. I don't want to be just a guy who's blowing wind out of my backside. And second to that, like I said, I just think that's part of the thing where I remember Richie McCaw. He's a guy who really loves the coast to coast. You probably are a fan of that, I imagine, with your running.
I've done the run league, but I haven't done the whole thing like he's done.
Yeah, well, he's telling me, he was talking maybe to me or the team or a group of us one time. He was just having a chat about, there's a guy who was a gunner who won heaps of them maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Steve Gurney.
Yeah, I think that's the name. And Steve must have been speaking at something. Maybe Richie heard it or he watched him, but basically he was against a real tough competitor, and he was in front of him, and he was just this might have been his first win, or I'm not sure, but he was just had nothing left, and he was thinking about just slowing down or submitting or something, and he just went that little bit further, and I think the guy behind him sort of I guess had a hard time, and he ended up winning that race. But I think the lesson Steve learned from that was just that mindset of that key little moment of just pushing a bit more and a bit more was what I'm saying is that guy's like a bit of a legend, Richard was saying, but everyone has their battle, and the battles that are in front of them. And there's times, Michael Jordan, he had that advert where he said, I missed 30 final shots. That's why I win. That's why I'm a competitor. So, it's good to just be able to talk about those different things, and you get a more real look at it, and hopefully people feel encouraged and go, hey, everyone's, gets tested, and, hopefully it's a little bit encouraging, yeah.
Well, adversity is part of the human experience, isn't it? You can't have sun without the rain, as the saying goes. I've got another message here. Kieran Reid.
Can I say one thing on Kevy? Just a great man. Yeah, so I don't know, did you ask him, did he say that, or did you find that from somewhere else?
No, I messaged him.
Yeah, so he was a guy that I loved. He was a guy I used to do extras with in the All Blacks, and the guy I used to do them with the Crusaders was Wyatt Crockett. Yeah, I always have a guy I like to do some stuff with after training, and Crocky was a great man, and and Kevy and me used to do some extra tackles and some breakdown, and it was like we'd always do it on a Thursday after training, and it was around our mentality. So we'd done the training week, but me and him were like it's like a marker for Saturday night. This is the physicality we're bringing. So just a heart of gold, beautiful family man. He shares a Christian faith with me, and everyone you don't ever hear a bad word about him. He's the Australian version is Petro Simvasiva of Kevy. So yeah.
You don't hear a bad word about you either. I put you in the same camp.
Oh, thanks. I'm not sure.
Also, what is it about you Christian dudes just tearing people's heads off?
Yeah, I know.
The Iceman, Michael Jones.
It's quite funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you feel bad afterwards? Like when you completely demolish someone and play, do you feel a little bit bad afterwards?
No. That's the enjoyment. And I always,
they know what they're getting themselves in for.
Yeah. I always feel like he's sign up. The thing I always felt, Dom, was after a game, you usually, when you go to shake hands, you're usually looking for that toughest opponent on the other team to shake hands with first. If you watch boxers, I remember I had a mate who was a boxer, and I said to him, I see these boxers and they're just bashing each other, and at the end they're hugging and stuff. And he said, when you're in the ring for 12 rounds and you're just throwing at each other, obviously you're trying to knock out and get a win or whatever, but the respect you have for your opponent, and it's personal in there. And it's funny how, like you said, the Christians, and George Foreman was a Christian, like prolific, like heavy-handed guy, Vander Holyfield. Yeah, it's good.
Don't mess with you guys. Kieran Reid, he was a guest on the podcast real early on when it started, like 4 years ago.
Great guy.
So I reached out to Redo. I have so much respect for Thorny. What stands out to me was just his ability to take people under his wing and help them grow, the likes of Samuel Whitelock and the Frank brothers. I learnt heaps in the way he conducted himself, fully committed to the game, but also a top family man at the same time. At the end of the final of the Rugby World Cup 2011, I called the line out to him at the front of the line out. I backed him 100% that he would nail it, and of course he did.
Yeah. Yeah. I write about that actually in the book, and I remember when he first said it to me, it was 1 minute to go. I'm like, putting it on me because it's a big moment. If we win that line out, we win the game.
So it's 8-7 at that point.
Yeah.
All Blacks France.
Yeah, and but that's my job. It's my job at the front to win what you call must-win ball. You know what I mean? Where doesn't matter if they're lined up against me. If you have a good throw and you're the one who's jumping first, you should win that. 10 out of 10 times. So it's cool to hear that he backed me, and that was a cool moment. I always laugh about how I never did a line out until I was 26 years old, and my nickname at the Crusaders early on was credit card, because they could just fit. They used to think they can just fit a credit card under my shoes when I jumped, which is like that hurt. That hurt. And do you know what else hurt, Dom? Do you know what else hurt? No one wanted to. When it's maybe it's like a school dance or something. Where you end up. No one. Or who wants to dance? A girl doesn't. You're battling away, but. No one. It's okay. Get into pods, 3, and practice your warm up jumping. No one wanted to lift me, but I used to, because I could dunk. I could dunk a basketball when I was 14. I remember my brother was a good basketball. He's 6 foot. He's a tall guy, 6'8". But the timing of lineouts, it wasn't. I could jump, but. I was wooden, So to think that I took the last line out to win a World Cup is crazy, and I always take my hat off to Woody and Ali, who lifted me. And most of all, I reckon the guy who gets the biggest credit is Andrew Hoare, who just like he was. I took a bit of a time to do that jump, and he was like, "Thorny, what are you doing?" But absolutely nailed it, and he had the hardest job, So yeah, it was good.
That must have been, just think about that, like, starting to play rugby in your mid-20s and having nicknames like Credit Card. Yeah, that must have been, I don't know, like humbling or demoralising. Like, 'cause here you were, you're the
sucked.
League star in the 90s, playing for the Broncos in the Dynasty era, and then suddenly you're back to ground zero.
Yeah. 3 grand finals, 97, 98, 2000 in 4 years. Origin, playing for Australia, on a big contract, 3-year $1 million contract. And you come over and, you got humbled, because at the end of the day, a 14-year-old could do a better line-out than I could. And, I basically started from square one. I could run and I could tackle, but there's just so much more to forward play. And just culturally, everything about coming across was such a challenge, and I'm so pleased I did it. Dom, obviously, now we can all say that, but I thank God for that, the character development that I got from that, the humility that I pretty much, felt, just having to persevere and getting to a good space with it was, there was a reward there, so important in my life that year.
And by the time you ended, you were like a great All Black, which is what every new All Black strives to be, right? A great All Black.
Yeah, well, I was never like, you're an All Black. Oh, yeah, like, I always want to be a great, in my mind, the guys would laugh about this because I always wanted to be a number 6. I used to like Jamie Joseph, AJ Witten, these sort of guys. I saw myself as a big 6 compared to a shorter lock. And one time I snuck myself in there at training where I did a scrum. Because I was used to being at lock, the number 8 or someone ran down the short side, which is the number 6 you're supposed to peel off and make the tackle. I was just sat on the scrum watching him run past. So they used to have a bit of fun about me, wanting to be a 6. But it was such a great challenge to come across and try and master that role, as a lock. So yeah.
Dr. Nick Gilly is the All Blacks long-term strength and conditioning coach. He's a previous podcast guest. I reached out to him and he just gave me 2 questions to ask you. Number 1, ask him what he called his biceps.
I'm trying. I don't know if he means. I used to call. This is embarrassing. You have a lot of banter. I love banter. Okay, you should see my house. I got 3 sons. The testosterone everywhere. All. But yeah, I used to call my pecs big and bigger. I used to flex them and carry on, and so that's probably what he's talking about. But yeah, lot of you gotta have, you can't be all serious.
Bigger. Yeah. He had another question, and I've got a visual gag for this.
Okay.
What's the significance of this meal that I'm holding here?
Has it got banana in it?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I'd eat all the time. Yeah.
A banana sandwich.
All the time. Yeah.
Because you're really into processes, and just keeping things as on track and as the same as what you can.
I just love I love bananas to this day, and I loved I guess I loved eating them. The thing that you know what, because Nick's having a bit of fun with me, that paid off when I went to Japan because I was in the south of Japan, Kyushu Island. It's the bottom island, real traditional, not like Hong Kong with lots of Western stuff. And I was sort of battling with the food, getting used to Japanese food. But what I did have was bananas. They did have bananas and they had bread, which meant that I survived. So the banana and bread, for weeks on end, I just go and buy bananas and bread. And then over time, I started to learn about Japanese food. And then, I came through. So Nick Gill, just so you know, that paid off.
So this is your pre-game snack, like an hour before kickoff, 2 hours before kickoff?
My pre-game was different to that. I had a same meal that I liked, but that was more like avocado and some salad and some chicken or some ham or whatever on a toasted. I used to love having an egg on it too. So I'd have 2 of those, always trying to have that 4 hours before and, have a bit of a smoothie or something. And, you get really meticulous. You get really a routine. Routines are important because when you're younger, you don't really have a routine. Your performance, it's important to import performance. You're sort of letting your mind, number one, your mind and your body know it's performance time. It gets used to a routine. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes things happen and it puts your routine out. You've got to be able to handle that as well. Just go, too bad, next job or whatever. But routine is good for consistency of performance. And from after I'd have that meal that I talked about, I'd always go back to my room. Whether I slept or not, I wouldn't care, but I'd have a lie down for an hour. Then I'd, some point in that day, might have been, I'd have a full body stretch and I'd have a hot, cold shower. And I used to feel $1 million and you get on the bus and that's how I believe you get a good, consistent sort of performance. So, yeah.
Control the controllables.
Yeah.
Darren Shand, who gets quite a few mentions in your book. I reached out to Shandy. He said, ask him why he was always left arm over top of right arm for team photos, the opposite to everyone else.
Left arm over right arm. Maybe that was, I was unaware of it, but I do know that my right arm's bigger, so maybe it was just me trying to get my big forearms out there. I'm not sure.
Oh, so it was something that you weren't aware you were doing?
No.
Okay.
No.
And he said, ask him if he remembers the first time I gave him a tour of the Crusaders facilities. He told me the backstory to this if you can't remember.
I can't remember, but he was someone that, he's your team manager. He used to work down at Bungie. Did you know that? He used to work down at AJ Hackett and do all that sort of stuff down there. Yeah. He's a really good guy. What happened?
So was he Crusaders manager when you first arrived? Okay, so he said he gave you a tour of the facilities, and he said, okay, this is the physio room, the rehab room, and you said something like, we won't be needing that, just show me where the gym is.
Yeah. I prided myself on not getting injured, not that. End of the day, someone hits you from the wrong angle, you're going to get injured. But I was pretty detailed. I was into a lot of probably stuff before it sort of became more. I was into ice baths in the mid-90s. I'm not, whether people think they affect you or not. I always felt better for it. Always big into my stretching, all these different things. So. Yeah, I remember Steve Muir was our physio. I said, "You won't see me," and I don't think they did see me. But when I came back when I was in my 30s, they probably saw me a little bit more. So yeah.
And the last message I got was from Justin Marshall. So your careers sort of overlapped, I guess. He was probably finishing just when you were.
He's only a year older than me.
Is he?
Marshall, yeah. It's just that. I didn't actually get to play much against guys of my own sort of time because from the age of 18, I played West Rugby League in the Brisbane Rugby League comp, first grade, as an 18-year-old. Then I had 7 years at the Broncos. I was playing first grade at 19. So there was 8 years there, and then I came over to Union at 26. But it used to be, guys used to leave quite early. It was almost like if you hadn't sort of made the All Blacks or something by your mid-20s, guys would go overseas and that. And Marshy had done a whole heap of stuff in rugby and done well. I think he's He's either your age or a year older than me.
He's a great guy.
And,
His memory of Brad Thorn, in essence, was he talked about your commitment to work and how you'd go to the gym before anyone else. So he said, like, the forwards would have a time to go to the gym, and then the backs would come a bit later.
Yeah.
He said you'd always go an hour before everyone else. Yeah. And then by the time the backs got in, you'd just be wandering around.
That's banter time. That's
banter time.
Yeah.
And he said he remembers once... he was doing bench and he had like 90 kilos or something on the bench, and you just came up and looked at it and then laughed and walked away.
That's classic. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was full of it, mate. And,
is that a true story?
We had, that would definitely be true. I like backs would try and walk through the bench press area, so you're not welcome here, like keep moving, or, I'd be standing, guys that, maybe they're in the mirror, I'd be, standing behind them, just, because I'm quite broad, and I'd be saying, don't blame yourself, it's your parents. You don't have the, all sorts of banter, so... it's just good fun because, like I said, it's a lot of seriousness. In my house growing up, my dad was, we used to wrestle and we'd open hand spar as well, and it'd always be chirp. And when I went to the Broncos, there's a heap of banter, and it's just the fun that helps it all go along, mate.
When I told Dr. Nick Gill that story about Justin Marshall, he said, that story's bullshit, that's not true. There's no way Marshall ever lifted 90 kilos.
Oh, yeah.
What about you? What's your bench PB and your squat PB?
My bench was 180, was my best lift, and my squat was 205. So they were my two lifts. I thought my squat was pretty good. That's an ass to the grass squat too. That's not a 90 degrees one, but just for the viewing public, okay, there's a big difference, I'm telling you, between an ass to grass. But Shane Webke was, we used to lift, the guy, Dan Baker was our guy at the Broncos, and two-time doctor. He's president of Australian Strength Conditioning, just a gun. And he put all the big dogs together, and we'd be competitive or whatever. And Shane Webke, remember him, his big quads and that, used to say, give me banter about my skinny pin. You got skinny pins, Thorny, and I just felt like I was doing all right. But he was a powerhouse. But we used to be so competitive around the gym and pretty much everything, and the amount of banter at the Broncos. So when I came over to the Crusaders, they were probably a little bit more reserved. But, once I got comfortable there and, then I'd have some fun, and it's all part of it. Just with Justin Marshall, he was a fantastic player to play with, and a tough soldier, and, a great player. And you knew when you played with him, he's fully on. He'd have your back, even as a halfback. He's a big halfback, but he was cool to play with.
He's a great guy too. If he gets a lot of flack for his media commitment and his commentary, but I say to anyone that doesn't like him, if you met him, you would like him. He's impossible to dislike.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a great dude. Yeah. Matt, we've been going for 32 minutes, and that was just with the icebreaker, just with those messages from your old teammates. We haven't even gotten to the crux of the podcast. This is great stuff.
Yeah. No,
are you comfortable chatting about yourself these days and reflecting on these things? Is it okay with you?
Yeah. It's been solid, It's more putting it down in a book. I felt like last year, I reckon, just in the background, I felt like, I think, stressed because you're showing, if I'm going to do a book, I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to I talk about anxiety, I talk about all sorts of stuff. So, and you're thinking, gee, anyone want to hear this anyway, But like I said, I got to the end of my career. I thought 30 years of stuff, surely I've learnt something, and I prayed about it, and the door was open, and I did it with HarperCollins. I thank them for being involved. So, but talking about yourself, it can feel a bit awkward.
Like just self-indulgent, or
I feel more. I just doing it, just being more. I guess. you probably notice over all that time I wasn't out there in front of the camera all the time, was I? You know, I was a bit more reserved. Probably an introvert, as you know, I need energy by being on my own, and you know, I like doing gym on my own. I like taking my dog out to the beach, or you know, my house is pretty noisy. You know, with my 4 kids. So yeah, to come out and just talk about stuff probably isn't natural, but I sort of feel like I had something to say. I've learned some things, you know, and you know, if I'm going to say some stuff, I need to, you know, just be open and that. And I think that helps too, because I feel like someone like me, I probably come across pretty staunch, you know, like a physical guy in the All Blacks, or at the, you know, coaching the Reds, you're pretty serious, you know, face, and you're a head coach, and you're just saying, hey, you're human too, and you got your faults. You feel the downs and the ups as well, and you hope that people, you know, will feel encouraged by that, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I love the backstory of the title, Champions Do Extra. It's a quote from your dad, who passed away when you were 19. I only got to see 7 of your 500 games.
Yeah.
The funny thing, and I suppose the good thing, is you're in a position of life now which is the same position as what most readers are. Like, you're just like a normal civilian.
Yeah.
So what does excellence look like to you now on a day-to-day basis?
Well, like...
what's extra for Brad?
I like, this will sound funny, I like making my bed really well. I do gym 3 days a week. I know it sounds funny. I just love a real well-made bed. Like, my wife will just, you know, put the sheets over. I like to strip it and, you know, make the under sheet flat, you know. And,
why?
Yeah,
it's so anal.
I just like it done well. Yeah, it's funny.
When you were away on tour, did you make your own bed, or did you?
No, you've got people. Usually, you're out, you're training and that. I'm just talking about it at home. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just giving an example. Like, I mow the lawn. I like my edges done. You know, I used to be able to claim that I could cut your hair with a whippersnapper, you know. But when I do my gym, I do 3 days a week. I have a gym at home. Like, I do all my movements or lifting or whatever. Try and do it excellent, you know. The way I feel is, why do it mediocre? That's how I sort of feel. Now, the argument is, you know, sometimes there's things where you just got to get it done and move on, and I get all that. But, and sometimes you do have to just get stuff done. But, yeah, if I do the kitchen, I like having it, you know, spotless clean and that. I don't think I'm like, is it OCD or something? What's that?
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
No, I'm not like, but I just... if I'm going to do stuff, I just like doing it well, and you just feel good purpose doing stuff well, and I know that's So even though I'm not like a professional athlete now and all this sort of stuff, that's what I like. And Dad, my father was the same. He's a watchmaker by trade. I don't know if you've ever seen watchmakers, but Dad used to do some work from home, and he'd have all these magnifying. Because you're dealing with...
It's so intricate.
Yeah. So, he could build a house, he could build a car. He did fixing watches that need to be perfect. You don't want a watch that's dodgy, do you? And when he was a watchmaker, it was before they had all the cheap watch where you just throw them away. It was, you know, people had their watches, and it was a well-paid job. So he liked doing stuff well as well. I guess that's a trait that I've taken from him as well.
Yeah, it's funny. Something that sprung to mind a second ago when you were talking about the beard and just doing everything right. I had one of your coaches, Sir Steve Hansen, on the podcast last year, and then he used an analogy about a dirty window, and you clean the window but not the corners.
The corners.
Yeah. Have you heard that one from him before?
Yeah. I've heard that from him. I've heard that. That's right. But that's there's like 85%. A lot of people do up around that. There's people who are low, like what would it be? It'd be like, down to 15% or up to 85%. There's a bulk of people doing sort of in the middle of that really high level is that top 15%. This guy, an old mate of mine, Cameron Lillycrap, he's an ex-Wallaby, said that's that top 15% Thorny. And I agree with him of doing things really well, and just, trying to, when I say really well, the word for that is striving to do it in an excellent way. And the thing that I loved about that with the things I wanted to achieve was you never fully attain it. And it's each time you do something, you got to retry and do it well again. So it's a never-ending, for someone who has a bit of a fire in them and loves challenges, it's like this never-ending thing that I'm trying to achieve.
Like a game that you can never clock.
Yeah. And it's, so I just love it. And it doesn't rely on me being better than someone else, even though I am highly competitive, very competitive. Even if I've, competed and I'm better, doing it better than, say, others, you can always do something better or whatever. So I always loved that as a mindset. Dad was right around, champions don't do mediocre, they don't do less. It's a pretty obvious one that they would do extra, what everyone else is prepared to do, they will do. I've seen that with great players, throughout my career on both codes, and watching. You hear about, I think it's Kobe Bryant, the amount of effort he put on, Michael Jordan, these sort of guys, the great cricketers, business people. Like I said, once again, for me, I don't get anything out of doing things half-assed or mediocre. So even if it's a small thing, I like to do it well if I can. Like I said before, sometimes there's things you just go through and you move on. But as a general sort of mindset, that was a strength for me, I think, in my career.
You don't just have one. You definitely do extra. You even have extra forwards in your book. Most people just have one. You've got three forwards from Robbie Deans, Joe Schmidt, and Wayne Bennett. Yeah. And Wayne Bennett calls you principled. That's the word he used. Yeah. What did he mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's a huge compliment.
Yeah, I guess you probably have to ask Wayne, but I felt strongly about representing the Broncos. It meant a lot to me. Moving over there when I was a 9-year-old, I guess I tried to play in a certain manner and show respect and all this sort of stuff. Maybe that's what he means. I'm not really sure, but to have those guys, Wayne, to this day, I'm 51 years old. He had me for 10 years at the Broncos. A fifth of my life, even now. So he had a big impact being around him and the great coach that he is. Yeah. And it won't surprise me if he goes into his 80s with his coaching, as long as he has the passion and the desire. And then to have Robbie there, who was massive for me, and such a competitor himself, and a good guy, and Joe Schmidt, who I got the pleasure of playing with at the back end of my career. And if you look at his resume, he's a guy who's achieved a lot, and then they're all men of character. So to have those guys talk about you is crazy. Yeah.
Yes, some of the coaches that you've played for. There's Ted, who thought you were too old initially. We might get into that later. Ageism. Yeah. There's the Professor, Sir Wayne Smith, Sir Steve Hansen, Robbie Deans, Joe Schmidt. Razor. Did Razor coach you at the Crusaders?
No. Razor. No, I played next to Razor.
Yeah. But also, Wayne Bellamy and Craig Bellamy and Wayne Bennett. What traits do all great coaches have in common?
Well, I guess they have the love for the what they're doing, the sport. Highly competitive. They've got their vision. They're very driven, and they manage. They can connect with to get the best out of your players. They're the best coaches. So there's our environment at the Broncos was a competitive environment. When I think of adversaries, not necessarily other teams, it was some of my teammates, and many times I come off the training paddock cranky because you lost some sort of ball skill game or whatever. So Deansy was the same. Like Deansy was just highly competitive guy. They demand high standards. You don't get stuff with low standards or mediocre standards. It's always the same. It's high standards, and the fabric that brings it all together is the care, and the care is the real words is love. But it's if care's probably a more comfortable word for the lads, but caring for each other and for what you're trying to achieve, the cause, and who you represent. And that's at those under Joe Schmidt, Wayne Bennett, Graham Henry, all those guys, Deansy, that they're big on that, big on keeping a humility. The great teams you go to, sometimes you expect them to have the big ego, but there's a humility. They know they're good, but there's a humility to continue to strive to get better and learn and whatever. Sometimes it's the teams where they're not so good, you expect would be humble, but they sometimes there's a bit of a attitude there. It's quite interesting that you'd expect the big time team to be if anything arrogant, but obviously but that's the thing I learnt throughout my 22 years playing is there's a reason why teams are good. It's not just by chance. And it starts with these coaches you're talking about and the players and the culture of the club and all that sort of stuff. And there's a reason why places aren't good. It's not just by chance either. Do you know what I mean? And having a full experience over that 22 years was good, to just get a feel for different things. The last 4 years of my career, I finished the World Cup. I was 36 years old. I still felt good. I thought I'd keep playing. But now I'm going to have some fun. I've had 10 years at the Broncos, 7 with the Crusaders, 17 years of going hard, all these things that I'm going to have some fun. So, I played in Japan. We came last. I got the wooden spoon. I've won a wooden spoon. So, at the Highlanders, we sort of came out of, we had a tough year, won 3, and then, into the top 6. Over to Leicester, Leinster. It was good to experience these different places and teams in different spaces, clubs at different spaces. So, yeah.
From what you've said previously, Wayne Bennett is your favourite league coach. Who would be your favourite rugby coach?
He's my only league coach.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, all my life. 10 years.
Craig Bellamy. He was your strength and conditioning coach at the Broncos. Okay, sure. He's gone on to do all right. Yeah, and we knew he would, and we loved Craig. And he played like 200 games for the Canberra Raiders back in the 80s. And this is when it was tough. They when they first came in, I think 1982 or something. They were tough years. So he played all those games. I think he did strength and conditioning. He did a bit of assistant coaching. He's pretty much done it all. And then he went into Melbourne, and look what he's done over 20 years. Isn't it fantastic what he's done? So. You're just pleased for those guys, and you just have massive respect, and you're thankful for what they invested into you. You know what I mean? Who would be your top rugby coach? One that if you could play for the rest of your life and only have one coach, who would it be?
That's just like a brutal question, Dom, because
you don't want to play favourites. It's like picking a favourite son.
That's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Do you want me to answer it?
Not if you don't feel comfortable.
I just feel,
there's going to be one that stands
if you
out.
look at Graham and you look at Smithy and Shag, I think of those guys together. Even though I did have Shag at Canterbury, but then you got like Deansy and you've got Joe Schmidt. They're all just high quality. So, it's just too. It's not an easy one to answer. Yeah. So can I just sidestep that?
Take a knee on that one?
Yeah.
And you played with some, that's the coaches, you played with some amazing players, in both sports. Who would be the best athlete that you've ever been a teammate with? When I had Sir Steve Hansen on the podcast last year, he said Rich is probably the best rugby player, Sonny Bill's the best athlete that he's ever coached.
Yes, and from a coaching point of view, some of the athletes I like are in the front row, or the locks. But Wendell Saylor was a powerhouse. There was some good specimens. Tony Carroll was a specimen. I don't know if you remember Tony. So there's all these different guys. You got Sonny, obviously, Rolls Royce, like a really good physical shape and athlete, and there's just so many guys. It's hard to, for me, does a front rower get mentioned in there because he's 120 kilo and you don't see his abs, but if you don't have him in the doing his job, you can't win games of rugby. So there's different type of physiques that you need for different positions, and so yeah. That's all I got on that one.
That almost sounds like another diplomatic answer.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's just because there's like I said, there's the athletes that are the easy standout ones, but you got to remember, I almost got like a loyalty to the type 5 and the middle. And in rugby league we call it like we used to call it the ruck. I think they call them middles now. So that would be like the Broncos, that would be Petro, Shane Webke, Sean Berrigan or Luke Prittis and myself. And then you have your right side and your left side, and there's good athletic guys in that. But they have different roles that they do. We have roles that we do. We have to have an onslaught of making hard meters and building momentum and getting us to the right ends. When it comes to rugby union, you got Tony Woodcock, who's just a beast. Does he look, if you put him in Speedos and that, is he going to look, compared to Israel Folau or someone, or
Dan Carter and his jockeys?
Yeah. No, he would look different. But that ain't going to work up front. So, you need Tony Woodcock, and you need, Franks and all the guys that I play with. So, like I said, I've got a bias probably being a type 5 guy to the guys that I stood next to, who were very as good at their job as anyone else, So, yeah.
Is Richie McCaw the greatest rugby player of all time?
Well, that's a big call. Once again, it goes back to...
Are you just mad because he broke your nose that time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what I was saying before. Yeah, we
accidental headbutt.
Yeah, we met at a 20 seconds into a test at Twickenham. My face hit his skull. But Richie is a great player, great guy. So there's many great guys and players though, and I'm sort of saying what I've just said before. It just depends on a number 10. He's running the show, So great number 10 is always going to stand out. He's getting the ball, he's making the plays. The 7, he's all around the ball, which is awesome. You see these 7s and they're dominant and they do their role. And Richie's a legendary player. Once again, there's a saying, who's the most important player in a rugby team? It's tight head prop. Who's the second most important? The reserve tight head prop, because you don't have a scrum. Rugby's played off set piece. You don't have front foot ball for anyone to play off for guys to do so. So talking, he'd definitely be up there. And there's all these other guys. There's great players right now. There's been great players in the past, I find those sort of questions sort of hard to answer, just because I just the value of it all. So yeah.
Oh, you're so diplomatic. Yeah. No one's going to be offended.
Yeah. Well, for me, you look at Eben Estevez. How many games has he played now? Big specimen, won a couple World Cups. You look at different guys, Pine Tree Meads, Brian Lahore. There's been a lot of you can't. It's hard to compare eras, because there's strength and conditioning and all this stuff now. Or back then there was this or that. It's just sort of hard, to put your sort of definitely a legendary All Black and became a great leader. So yeah.
Your hard work, Brad Thorn.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Hey, let's go all the way back. So you're born in Mosgiel, then you spent some time in Bannockburn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's red wine territory near Cromwell.
Used to be farmers' orchards. Apricots and cherries and stuff. I think there's still cherries and stuff there now, battling away, and maybe merino, sheep farming. It was guys that they were trying the best, but with the vineyards and that came along, it was perfect. They thrive. The grapes thrive in that altitude and those conditions, and it's come a long way. When I go back there, we've got the speedway there. The speedway in Cromwell.
Highlands Park. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's it's really grown in Queenstown and all that. So yeah, it's cool. A great place to grow up. Played my first rugby there as a 6-year-old. For my primary school, Cromwell Primary, played at under 8s, and then that was it. I've heard people in the past, you played rugby up until, first 15. No. Under 8s was the last time until I played with the Crusaders as a 26-year-old,
20-year hiatus.
Because then we went across to Australia and I learnt new game. So, yeah.
So back then, you were called Boo. That was the family nickname.
Yeah,
Boo.
That's hard hearing that way.
Is it? Does anyone still call you Boo now? Does your older brother call you Boo? Does your
Sometimes he does, and I let him get away with it because it's my big bro. He's 50. He's a couple of years. He's your age. A couple of years older.
He's bigger than you as well, right?
He's the big dog. Yeah, 6'8". He is 3 inches bigger. So. And he's the older brother, so I have to cop a bit of that. But yeah, it got to a point when I was 14, 15, you start to think you're pretty cool and stuff. And I got my mum or my dad yelling out, "Go Boo, go Boo!" And I'm like, we're gonna lose that nickname. It's time to. It was good as a kid, little guy, but that didn't cut it down as a 15-year-old trying to be cool and whatever. So yeah.
Fuck, that's wonderful though. That's a great nickname. The middle-aged man sitting in front of me now. How is he the same, and how is he different to Boo at Silverstream Primary School in Mosgiel?
Yeah, love rough and tumble.
Yeah,
I'd like to think I'm pretty friendly. I'm a softie inside. I'm Yeah, I'm a softie. I remember my dad saying there was the Good Guys or something. It was a business in Australia, and they had an advert, a bunch of softies. He said, "That's us, mate." We're, So, but yeah, I'm cheeky. Usually, you get like a bigger guy. He can be a certain way, but because I was like the little guy, I actually had a foster brother who lived with us for 4 years. He was a year older than my brother. So I had him, my brother, and I was the cheeky guy. I'd annoy older kids. I remember getting beat up out the front of church, beat up on Christmas Day by other kids because, I was a cheeky bit of a rascal guy. I guess, when we were talking before about in the gym, I'm walking around
just mouthing off at people.
Yeah, bantering away. So yeah, there's probably a good amount of cheekiness to me as well.
Did you get in much trouble? What was the most trouble you got in as a kid? We respected our parents, and we didn't really get in too much trouble. Like I said, it might be silly little things, whatever. Probably if I thought about trouble would be my mother, when we moved to Australia, she's a nurse, 40 years a nurse she was, and she used to do night duty when we first rocked up because, you've come in new and night duty's pretty hard. She do 6 days a week night duty. What that meant was on the weekends, Dad was working, but we had to be quiet during the day, and because Mum would have to sleep. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes we forget and be making a lot of noise or having the TV up, and if Mum got woken up, that's when you knew when Dad come home. He'd line us up military style, and you get smack. So yeah, that's not big time in trouble. We were just, Mum and Dad said goes, and, that we're pretty respectful. I'll just say, I mentioned that we had a foster brother. That was my dad that was big on that, and just his own upbringing. He sort of just had a bit of a, his dad was an alcoholic, and he lived in state housing in Mosgiel, and he didn't have that connection with his dad. He felt, I guess, he wished he had, and he poured that into us. But I think Dad wanted to give. We got to a good space, and Dad wanted to give back. And we had a foster brother who lived with us for 4 years. He'd been like 33 different homes or something, and we're actually looking to adopt him. He's living in Australia with us. He was like a brother to me, and we treat him like a brother. That's what I mean. And but yeah, his mother wanted him not to do that and to come back to New Zealand. And unfortunately, a month after going back, he was in a boarding school. Like a boys' home.
Just boarding school, right. Like a school.
Oh, okay.
But he was around. He had a strong role model with my dad and all that sort of stuff. But I took my hat off to my dad around that because, it was cool that he really wanted to. He had his 2 sons, but he wanted to give someone, I guess, a chance to have
an opportunity.
Yeah.
So Lindsay Thorn. Yeah. Let's talk about him. He passed. He was a huge influence on you, as we've talked about. Champions do extra. That was a quote from him. He gave you a boot up the arse when you need it. Sounds like he gave you love when you needed it. You lost him when you were 19, like 7 games into your league career. So there's so much that he missed, but also so much that he got to see, which is sort of how you frame it. Like he'd done all he needed to do as a parent to send you and your brother on your way.
Job done. It sucked that he passed, and he's not at weddings. He's not with being a granddad and all this sort of stuff. But job done, Lindsay, because me and Aaron, I was just about to turn 20. Aaron was 22, my brother, and 20 years of goodness he poured into, for me, and 22 for my brother. And So the challenges of life and that, we were, walked forward and thank God for my dad, and my brother would say the same thing. If he'd gone, as a 15-year-old or something, or a 13-year-old, it would have been, I think, a way more massive thing, But I'm just saying, but for half of me and my brother, he did a great job there, and it's cool to honour him in this book, because I talk about in the World Cup final, after the siren goes, I was so pent up and energy, I was bawling on my knees, and All Black physio Pete Gallagher, who's a friend of mine, said, Lindsay would be proud of you, which is, it was my dad, and it was really cool in that moment. But, to have all those sort of moments, those experiences and all that, you're just so grateful you got set up. How he treated my mother, you can talk about it, but you see you got your dad actioning it, meeting my wife and how I've raised my own kids, It's just cool to honour him a bit, in the book, and my mother as well.
I mean, he's been out of your life longer than what he was in it. Is it still painful now to think about him, to talk about him?
You know what, Dom? What I've liked is I just talked about him. I can talk about it. There's many years where I'd choke up, and so I had to talk at my brother's wedding, and he got married. I'm basically. Dad would have been saying something. So it was hard to talk about him, and different times like that, There's a couple of times some of my players lost their dads, and I really understood how they were feeling, like they were young guys. We had a young guy called Jordan Patea. I don't know if you heard of him. He was in the Queensland Reds, and I was actually got on well with his dad. Tilu, who's a good guy, and he passed suddenly, and some of the guys were going to, it was Lucan, who's a lock that I had, and Chris Sortia was a centre I had. They were going to his house, and they rang me to let me know, because it just happened suddenly, to support him, and it caught me unawares. This is a guy I got on pretty well with. And I actually, halfway through the phone call, basically fell down my knees in my bedroom bawling. And my wife was just hugging me, But I felt, because I knew what Jordan was, the pain and how hard that is. And I think, just over the years, you process it a bit. And when my dad passed, he died on the Sunday morning. And I actually got to see him only because I came home at like daylight. I'd been out at the pubs with my mates, and then he's gone. He's on a table and he's not there. And my mum's just bawling and whatever. So, but on the Sunday, so on the Tuesday afternoon, I went and trained at the Broncos, because there's so much grief you can take. I just need to get away from that. But we were just remembering, we had the funeral on the Wednesday. It's pretty quick, turn around. And I don't know if it's, looking back, maybe over time, there's different things where they have a body at a house for a while to let people,
process it.
Yeah. All that sort of stuff. There was a massive king hit, and it's the hardest thing that I've had to deal with in my life, and I hadn't really had anything bad happen till then, and he was like my best friend. He's my guy, so yeah, like. Pete Gallagher mentioning him when we won that World Cup. That's why I wrote in the book. It's pretty nice. I used to, in the Broncos, in the All Blacks, after test matches, often the parents would be around, the families, and sometimes some of the fathers and then some of the coaching staff would be in the team room. And I would go there as well, because after a big energy game, you'd be lying there at 3 a.m. with your eyes wide open. It's hard to sleep. So, but I'm not a guy who's going out, I'm a family man, whatever. What I used to love was just hanging out with those fathers, because mine wasn't there. So I would talk to Richie's dad and to Horry's dad, and they wouldn't have realised it. But yeah, I just, when I see fathers with their sons and stuff, the Franks' dad, all these guys, I just really appreciate it, because he wasn't. When it's a tough one when they're not there the next day or the next one or the next year, and so yeah, I believe I'll see my father again, but yeah, he's been missed, and like I said, it's cool to in a way with this book, just honour my dad and the impact he had on me, and also my mother, who was a real rock, and they were a great team together. Took Mum 2 years to get over Dad, she told me. So yeah, it's a tough old time. Plenty of people go through it though, don't they? So yeah.
Well, it's the price of great love, isn't it? And I'd even say 2 years to get over it. I don't know if you ever fully get over it. I think it always sits close to the surface, eh?
I just think for Mum, she got to a space where she can go for it. She's never remarried. She has Alzheimer's now. I'm going to go down and see her. Now I'm back in New Zealand. And she's probably not going to know me, but yeah, it's...
Brad, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's not...
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's just the journey of life, and when Dad passed, one thing I sort of understood with my brother is trying to, Mum and Dad raised us, and they're always there, but trying to look after Mum, so we made sure, me and my brother, that one of us was at home, because I bought a house and I moved out, my brother was home, then he came to New Zealand, I was back at home. When I came to do that rugby challenge as a 26-year-old, that was the first time Mum was going to be on her own. So I'd been 19 when Dad passed, so it'd been like 5-6 years. But I got to take on this. I got to live life and take on this challenge. And I talked to Mum about it. She was obviously supportive in that. I think from memory, she went over and did some nursing in England that year, just to be,
change of scenery.
Yeah, but what you realise is, with the Alzheimer's and stuff, you're looking, she's in Christchurch, my brother's there, and for the last 10 years or so, she'd been in Brisbane. I brought her back home, and I brought her back, but yeah, it's me and my brother, our job to look after Mum. So, and she's the 30-odd years since Dad passed. As I said, she's never remarried, but she's gone about her life, and what a wonderful woman. So much respect for her.
So when you see your mum, like now or this week with Alzheimer's, I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I haven't had a family member that's had Alzheimer's or dementia. How do you handle it? What do you talk about? What do you do?
I'm not one of the guys that goes, keeps testing her memory, like, does she know me or not know me? I sense that she's happy when she sees me. I sense that sometimes she probably does know me, She probably still does know me, but...
Glimpses.
Yeah, like, she seems real happy and warm, and I don't bother asking her questions, do you remember this, or I just tell her I love her, and... I like her being free. I like to get her, when she was, I have no relations in Australia, they're all in New Zealand, so it was part of bringing her back. My brother, his sister, cousins, whatever. So, but when I was in Australia, I'd always take my dog. I'm a big dog. I love my lab, Maisie. I'm a big dog person, and always found that Mum loved having the dog around. I'd always take her out and to a park. I just like her being free, because you get locked. You're in a place, and they're around people. They're not. It's a tough old gig. You're around people. That's your new home now. And she lived with us for about 1.5 years. It got real tough there.
This is while you were coaching the Reds as well.
It was tough. Like sometimes I get a phone call. My mum had been walking, didn't know where she was, and some people had found her and all this sort of stuff. So, but I used to like taking her out to. We have like these mud flats when the tide goes out, and Sandgate and Nudgee Beach. I don't know if you know anything about it, Brisbane, and I like taking the dog out there, and I just like taking my mum out there, because she's just, for that hour or so, she's free. Just walk wherever you want to walk. This is just a holy beloved. This is a woman that brought you into the world, and you just want her to feel safe and good, and you are just grateful to God for her, and you're bringing that connection. Like I said, I don't spend time saying, "Oh, Mum, do you remember this?" or "Oh, she doesn't know who I am." No, I just be there, and I don't really ask questions. I just say, "Oh, isn't this nice? Isn't that nice?" So.
Is there a manual for this? Like for kids that have got parents or loved ones with Alzheimer's, cause I feel like testing them. I don't know. I feel like that could be like embarrassing.
Yeah,
If it was me, I'd probably have to have my pride. So I'd have a moment where I'd maybe lie and say I do remember something, even if I didn't.
I'm not sure. It's just like I said. That's sort of how I go. I just want my mum to feel it's our time. It's our job to look out for Mum. Dad's not here. If Dad was around, and he didn't have Alzheimer's, he'd be looking after Mum and whatever. The time that's tough with Alzheimer's and dementia and that, I'll tell you when the time's tough is so earlier on, when all of a sudden you're saying to them, you can't ride your bike because, if they just cycle out in front of someone in a car or something, or, you got to take the license, There's these things where the person that has the Alzheimer's, the dementia or whatever, they're saying, "Oh, why can't I drive?" Because they're not really aware. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in a way, the people who are caring for them can become the bad guy. And it'd be if I started saying to you, Dom, you can't. Sorry, mate, you can't do this. You can't do that. You'd be going, why? Why can't I? Why are you telling me what to do? So there can be a little bit of that's not much fun, because you almost become like the bad guy. That's where probably when they're in a place, like a place where they go, I guess the nurses can be a bit of the bad guy, and you get back to being the good guy, and you can spend time with them. So
she's in a care facility now.
Yeah, and it's a really good one. In Christchurch, we're very grateful to the effort all the people there put in for all those people, all those people that are in there.
How often do you get back?
This will be, I brought her back about a year and just over a year ago. So this will be the second time that I'll be back since then, because I'm just got all these other stuff going on as well. So it sort of sucks, because for all that time, I've been there. It's been me and Mum. Like I said, all the relations, everyone's over here. So it was sort of tough taking it back.
And when you go and visit, I can't imagine how hard leaving will be again.
You're just saying to her, you're just saying that you love him. I love you, Mum. And it probably sounds like, if you said it normally, it would sound over the top, but you just want to enjoy saying it. So while you got the opportunity, I just had my arm around her, and it gets to a point where maybe you sit down and she's sort of walks around the lounge room they have there and looks back at you, and it's like she doesn't recognise you. It's just part of what that is, and it's we're finite, and like I said, I have a faith. I believe, my mother, will join my father, in a better place to come. So yeah.
How awesome would it be if there happens to be a moment of clarity where she calls you boo?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Probably unlikely now, though.
Yeah,
mate.
really.
Yeah, she's still functioning and stuff, but yeah, I'm not like I said, I'm not sure, and I don't really ask. I feel like when she see me, her face lights up and that,
Something clicks, something registers.
Yeah. Who would know what she would know? Maybe I'm familiar, and I'd say I'm a real familiar face. Maybe she does know I'm her son, and it's Brad, and this sort of stuff. But I'm less focused on that and more on just I just want her to feel good, and I want to value my mother, and with Dad gone, like I said, me and Aaron is our time to we look out for Mum. So yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose due to the different ways, your mum's got Alzheimer's. Your dad died had a heart incident on a bike crash. Yeah, so the story goes in your book, which you share about so openly. You'd been on a night out. You come home like 4 or 5 in the morning. Your dad's in his Lycra just going out for a bike ride. So you pass each other. So I'm guessing in that sort of circumstance, in that environment, at that age, you didn't say, "I love you" as the last words?
No, I was just happy for him. It's funny that night out, it was just weird because we got Puppy here having a good
scratching
scratch.
The floor.
Good on him. But he, when I was out, my best mate, his brother, was with us, and we just wanted to get a taxi. Brisbane's a big city, head out our way. And he was just wanting to hang on. I think he was trying to chat to this nice girl or whatever, and he's like, "Just give me 20 minutes, 30 minutes." He's just, he's a nice guy. He wasn't a bad intention guy, but and we gave him that time. Okay, time to go. I need a bit more. It's like he said it like 3 times. I was just still in my head, and man, let's go. It's going to be. Sun's going to come up soon. Sun comes up around 4:35 in Brisbane, and finally he comes. I get home. It's like daylight. I'm just like, far out. Dad's there, getting ready to cycle. He'd cycle with mates, and then they'd have a coffee, and then at the end of it, do a good cycle, and then like a lot of people do, and then he'd come home. And I saw him. He was looking so good, so fresh, and he'd had angina about 6 months earlier, and I think they'd put a stent in or something, and he'd been going, it really affected him, and then he's a really fit, healthy guy, seemed like a healthy guy, and then, he seemed like he's in, really good neck and doing well, he's pumped. And then booyah, came up, they found him 3 houses down from our house, 3 houses down, and don't know if he was riding and then fell off, or if he, don't know. He's just on a guy's lawn, and that was brutal for my brother. He was the guy that went down there, and they were doing all the the stuff in the ambulance and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, and then, like I said, yeah.
Well, you were sort of you hadn't rediscovered your Christianity at that point, and you were out drinking. Why didn't you go off the rails at that point? What kept you from going off the rails?
Well, I was pretty loose for the next 19, 20, 21, 22. I've got a nickname for that period. It's the mush years, because they all just immersed into it. I just train hard, play hard, party hard, and I did all three, hard, So that was the league way.
I saw like a news headline about you from 2009, and it said, "Brad Thorn, from Hellraiser to Family Man." You were never a hellraiser.
I wouldn't say I was a hellraiser. To me, it might be, you
just going hard.
Editors are trying to get, attention to it. Yeah. I was just another guy who's, binge drinker, and in that, that sort of time, that environment, it's pretty loose. It's pretty loose living by me. So that's how I was rolling, and I guess I had a profile, and I guess got some attention, and I took advantage of that, I guess. And
I've heard you refer to yourself as a womaniser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? You're a hit with the ladies?
I wouldn't say necessarily a hit with the ladies, but that was just where it was at, and I love my grog, and there was that came with, like I said, that was we trained hard, we played hard, we partied hard, and the thing about that was that there was an emptiness there, and a sadness, really. And I say in the book, the worst part was just nothing, feeling like the word cardboard, or I'm trying to think of something that just transactional. It's sort of like I write this sort of book. I got a wife, I got a daughter, I got my sons. I don't go into great depths around stuff. I don't want to. I'm respectful, but as a loose unit, and it got me to a point where I basically had all this stuff. I'd achieved all these things as a 22-year-old, and with all that, all my ego and all my the life I was living. The thing that I didn't understand was, I'm living the life. Why am I not happy? And that's when why do I not feel fulfilled? Why am I, I've got all these things, but I still feel a lack of real purpose. And it was like an equation for me, and I was like, it doesn't add up. I'm supposed to be happy. I've done all the stuff. I've got everything. I'm at the top of the mountain playing for Australia. I got a house, car, all this sort of stuff. So that's what made me think, start to think more about God. And we were a family that were involved in the church and that growing up in New Zealand. When we came across to Australia, I used to love Sunday school and all that sort of stuff, and learning about Jesus as a little kid, but all the stories and the songs and that. But we came to Australia. We didn't. We went to a church and we didn't really feel comfortable there, and we just stopped going. And then it was 6 or 7 years before Mum and Dad had a neighbour that moved in who was a Christian and invited them to a church, and Mum and Dad ended up getting back, and my brother had a friend who invited at school, and he came to faith, and I was sort of like the last one, and I had stuff I was going to achieve, and like I said, I got that space where I had it all, and like I said, it felt there's an emptiness to it, and it really confused me, and that's when, because of those memories of when I was young, how good I used to feel, and getting along to church with my mum and dad, and just seeing the impact it had on my brother, the people, Christians and stuff, the peace they had, I just knew I didn't have it. And that's where, so I don't know if you want me to keep talking about it or...
Yeah, one thing I'm really intrigued about, by the way, thanks for being so open about everything, your parents and the faith stuff as well. One thing I'm super intrigued about is, so you're this rock star in Brisbane in the 1990s. You're playing in the Broncos during the dynasty years. You're this state of origin player. You're playing for the Kangaroos. What was it like coming out to your teammates at that point that you're religious? It must have been so isolating.
It wasn't popular, But, when I look
was
back...
Was it like a lot of judgment?
Yeah, at the time, it was. Yeah, because you're a Christian, you're supposed to be a goody,
God botherer.
Yeah, what's the Simpsons, Ned Flanders, all this sort of stuff.
Howdy, neighbour.
It's not cool, it's not strong, So, yeah, it put you a bit on the outer, but I look back on that and I thank God for it, because if it had been just cruisy, maybe it made me make a decision, okay, I'm going to get a bit of heat around this. So am I going to follow the Lord or not, If it had just been easier than that, maybe I would have been fluffy about my faith, but it made me go, yeah, I believe there's a God that loves me. Jesus died for my sins. I believe he's raised again, and I submit my life to him, and I'm going to cop heat, and so be it. My life has changed. I have peace. I feel fulfillment. I have purpose, and there's a God that loves me, and there's a life in front of me to live walking with him. So when you look at it, talking here, Dom, end of the day, I think Christians are the most persecuted people on the planet. I think it's like 350 million. I saw some stat. Like, there's some, you look at Nigeria, you look at these places around the world, North Korea, all around the world, they're getting their lives taken, I got a bit of, coldness or, some, Alfie used to sing Kumbaya and all this.
Alfie Langer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like just taking the piss out of you?
Yeah, taking the piss. Because I guess they got to
get to
space.
Like, you can laugh about it now. Did it piss you off at the time?
I just like being part of the crew. And I play, my number one thing with footy is camaraderie. And I love the physicality and stuff. But so being a Christian sort of, put me on the outer, where I just like being with the, I don't, naturally you don't want that, do you?
No.
Ideally. So, I didn't like it. But like I said, over time I felt like respect was earned, because I felt like it made me a better player, because I actually cared more about my teammates instead of just it all being about me. And I bit and scratched and fought my way through, and then that was a massive thing that changed. But other people were down there. God was hardly thought about, and it just went. And I started the Lord submitting each day, what he wanted in my life, and other people became really important to me, how they were going, how could I help, and then myself. So that just flipped. The biggest test that, one of the biggest tests that happened around that for
What's
me,
that?
when my uncle came over when I was 16, 17, he's like, you got to rep games. My dad got him to chat me. You got to get the ball, look after number one. When I had like this mindset change, I'd start doing my run, and it was on my own, and it was just like, nothing's going to get in my way. I'm getting these things done and look after number one. Do you know what I mean? And when I became a Christian, I was 23. And I had a couple of years at the Broncos, and achievement. I felt like my footy got even better. I had more. I was playing for more purpose, and I cared about my mates and all this sort of stuff. But then I went to rugby, and I was trying to learn the game and stuff. That was tough, but I had a year off. But I came back in 2003, and I played for the All Blacks in the 2003 World Cup and all that sort of stuff. When I came back. At the club there was Chris Jack, who's an outstanding All Black. I think he played close to 70 tests. I think he got New Zealand Player of the Year. Norm Maxwell was just a warrior, just a good, tough guy. He'd been an All Black. And then there was me, and there was a guy, Bryce Williams, and he's a younger guy. And it all been, a lot of it been fine, being a Christian. I'm doing my thing. But then I got to a space where I'm trying to come up through ranks again. I knew coming to the Crusaders, I needed to be in that team each week, getting as many games as I could, because I moved from number 8 to lock, because my aspiration was to be an All Black and to be a great All Black. But to play in the World Cup that year, I need to put in performances. So I remember at the trainings, I'm just looking. I had a training session one day, and I talk about this in the book as well. Bryce, the young guy, was working on, I think it was kickoffs, it might have been something else, but I just looked at him and I was thinking, I know what gets this done, and it's not looking after some younger guy, it's biting and scratching and fight my way to the top. I've done it before, I know. I climbed to the top of the mountain. I know what works. It's not looking after or caring about these guys. And then it was just me standing at the end of training watching these guys do extras, and then I had this thought, hang on, like, you're doing this God's way, that's I guess how I made my way. And when I told you I got to the top of the mountain, there's nothing there. There's an emptiness and there's a lack of fulfillment. And I remember looking back at the Bryce thinking, I'm going to, maybe I should go over and work with him, and maybe we can both improve or whatever. And it was real hard. I had this minute moment when I'm going, no. It's like an old me going, that's not how we get it done. Look after number one. And because there's a ruthless side to me of just, and I'm trying to take out, I'm trying to come through with the other two guys. I knew I had to try and, to be a starter, I had to play better than Maxie and Chris Jack. Anyway, it gets to a point where I go, no, you're doing this. You're doing it. I'm doing it your way, Lord. I walked over and I worked with Bryce, whatever it was. I didn't do some great helping or anything, just doing some extras with him. And that was a game changer for me, because before that I'd sort of been like a slave to just looking after number one. And it was, like I said, I'd become a Christian. It was all fine for a couple of years. I was at the top of my game in league. But when I got tested, when rubber hit the road, hey, I know what I need to do to get there. But from that time, it really drove me to work with guys, Sam Whitelock's, I think you mentioned him before, had an impact on him, or different guys. And the fulfillment, to get to a space where, you almost get more joy out of seeing someone else do well, than they actually do. The fulfillment of that, the joy, the connection, just so much more fulfilling. And what I learnt was that you can achieve things too. And I got to represent the All Blacks that year, and I was very proud to do that. So
yeah, thanks for sharing that stuff. What did you must have seen some wild stuff at Mad Monday celebrations as a sober Christian.
I was doing it originally, but yeah. I mainly would just you just not be around for that, because
you just call it early. When it starts to get messy, you're gone.
It was hard because I'd almost be out of my house, and it was like I almost hear the city calling to me. I'm like, this is hard. I guess I had some pillars that helped. Like, I went to church on a Sunday, which was good, but then you got the week trying to, keep it on the straight and narrow. You got bad old habits. It took me 3 years to come to terms with how I was going to handle my alcohol. That was to give up for 6 years. I gave up for 6 years because I actually wasn't man enough to handle it, to treat it properly. So
most people aren't.
Well, I'm just only talking about myself.
Yeah.
I'm just being direct on myself. I wasn't. So, that took me 3 years. There'd be many times in those 3 years people looking, oh, is that a Christian, that guy? I was on my walking my walk, But I had church on Sunday. I used to meet with a guy on a Thursday and do a Bible study and whatever. And I ended up on a Tuesday, I actually fasted for the day up until dinner. So pretty much from the Monday evening through to the Tuesday evening. And I just, it was a time when I'd say prayers just for, people were sick or whatever. I reckon I've done that to this day. I do that to this day on a Tuesday. And those 3 sort of days in the week of that, the Bible study and the Sunday they were pillars in the week that were really good for me to have structures in the week. And I felt like in that time of transitioning, I guess, coming into my faith, that was a strength for me.
How do you think your life would have looked in your 20s, 30s, or even 40s if you hadn't reconnected with your religion?
Don't know if I would have, when I remember thinking, how am I ever going to marry someone, It's sort of hard to sort of talk about it, but pretty much I didn't know how I'd ever be faithful to a woman or, I used to go pretty hard. So how would that have worked? Don't know if it would have worked great. You're away a lot, up to 4 months a year with the All Blacks and all that sort of stuff. And
when there's temptation and opportunity, like it,
and just ego, maybe just a massive dickhead, I don't know. I'm just grateful that that God, in His mercy, got me to that space, and and that's been the walk I've had, and it hasn't been all rosy. It's been a hard, you have your ups and downs like everyone, but I know there's purpose to my life, and He's my strength.
Where did you meet Marianne? You've been married for like 25 years now or something, eh?
23, yeah.
23 years.
Yeah, 24 this year. So
I suppose she came into your life when the timing is everything with these things, isn't
massive.
it? Yeah.
Because if she'd come early, I would have ruined it.
Yeah. So she wasn't a Broncos groupie?
No, she was from her brothers played rugby in Sydney. Yeah. It's pretty crazy, you think, how do we get together? Her mum came from Malta after World War II. She's born in Malta, just under Italy there, that over there. And my family's in New Zealand. She grows up in Sydney, I grow up in Brisbane. She moves up because it's warmer, and as a young adult, and, we just so happen to meet in a pub, and I'm sober because I'm a different, in a different space, and she wasn't a big drinker or anything. And over a period of time, it wasn't like mobile phones and stuff back then. I'd bump into her, and I just talked to her, or whatever, and got to 6 months or so. It was like, hey, I like this girl, and we, and it was, it was. It's crazy how that plays out, though, and 4 kids later and 23 years, she's my, say this to anyone, but she's my best friend. We love, we're just great mates, and awesome.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, mate.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I appreciate that, yeah.
This is, we've been going for an hour 40. We'll get back to some All Black stuff, eh?
Yeah, I can shorten my answers. I'm probably waffling on too long.
Mate, I'm hanging off every word you're saying. It's really cool. It's like getting an interview on some different stuff.
Do you know what's good, Dom, that you're asking a lot of, you haven't been asked a lot of these questions, so it's been really cool talking.
Well, there's a lot that we could talk about, but I feel like it's almost the stuff of legends now, how lazy you were as a kid. I heard a few other podcasts you've been on, so I thought I want to go in a bit of a different direction.
Yeah, it's cool, mate.
Thanks heaps. We talked before about you playing rugby and just feeling like like a 14, 15-year-old kid. Like, you had no idea what you were doing. You had the nickname Credit Card.
Yeah.
But then that first season with the Crusaders went well, and at the end of the year, you were selected for the All Blacks. I remember this happening at the time. So this was 2001.
Yeah.
And I remember it being I was in commercial radio at the time, and I remember it being a big thing, and people were like, oh, what's this guy doing, disrespecting the jersey? And you sort of elaborate on this on the book.
Yeah.
So for anyone that has no idea what we're talking about or can't remember or wasn't born at that time, what happened?
Yeah, well, I got selected. I'd come over to rugby to try and play rugby union. It had gone professional. You could do that. You didn't used to be able to do it. And, yeah, I signed a 1-year contract with an option of 2 more. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't like a 3-year contract. It was a 1-year contract with an option of 2 more. Basically, when I'd gone over to New Zealand, the Super Rugby season, they put me at number 8, and all these challenges are just culturally, it was different. Trying to learn rugby with set piece, all the stuff was completely different to league. But at the end of that, I wasn't enjoying it. I had I had 3 questions when I went there. Do I like rugby? Am I any good at it? And do I like living in New Zealand? All 3 were big no, and had a bit of a rev up chat with my brother when I went back to Australia. Just basically said, with what's remaining of the year, give it your best, and then you can walk away. You had a crack, and maybe it just wasn't meant to be, And I went back in the NBC. They moved me to lock, and I started to, become, just in a small way, instinctive in the game, and started to be able to play it, and my game improved, and I was starting to like it a bit more. I was, I felt like I was getting a little bit better, and I was getting a bit more used to New Zealand. But at the same time, Marianne lived in Brisbane, as well. And at the same time, like I said, it took me 3 years to get to come to terms how I was going to handle alcohol. It was like a period. I became a Christian when I was 23, but like getting my house in order as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So basically, I pretty much, the word was I was going to be selected. I sort of put it out there that, I'd like to go home. It'd been a big solid year, and just, think about things, what I was going to do, whatever. And I got selected.
By John Mitchell and Robbie Deans.
Yeah, which I understand. I had potential in 2003, build up, all that sort of stuff, but just made it a little bit awkward, you could say. And
Did you not think you belonged there? Was it imposter syndrome?
No, players get picked on potential for representative footy and teams. So that's good thinking if you think about it. 2 years out from a World Cup, and I was starting to show something, So
I suppose they knew you had big game experience, and
that was my, like I said, West, and then the Broncos. That's 8 years, so it's my 9th year as a pro. Some guys that's their career, so I'm experienced, all that sort of stuff. But if I had, I wasn't sure about my future, and taking all those things to account, like I said before, around the rugby, around, Marianne, around just me, I sort of felt if I go on that tour, take the black jersey, and then I say, hey, I'm not, thanks, I've got my 3.
Got the souvenir.
Yeah. That's not going down well. So that's pretty much basically where it's at. And I went home. I actually ended up having a full year off from all sport, like a half-time break in my career. Out of 22 years, that's like my 10th year. It's almost like perfectly put in the middle where I had a year. And, me and Marianne got married later that year. We travelled, did all these things. with Marianne marrying her, I felt my house was in order to where I want it to be under God, and then it was about I put in this effort. I got to a space where there's an opportunity to get reward for the effort that had been put in. I could have just gone back to league, but I wanted to realise that reward, and that's when I went back to the Crusaders in 2003, and played on through to winning. Not being part of a World Cup. So yeah.
What was the backlash like at the time? Was that intense?
Heavy duty.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
Who did you hear from in the was Darren Shand the All Black manager at the time?
No, it was I think
Andrew Martin, the
Sarge, Colonel. Yeah,
Colonel. The old SAS guy.
Yeah,
Cuddles.
Yeah,
Captain Cuddles, they called him because he gave the players a cuddle when they came off the field.
Yeah. He was really good, mate. I gave him a call and just said, look, I'm not sure about my future in the game, so I'm going to stand down. And it's not easy to do this, but that's what I feel I should do. And he was really good around it. And, it was...
You say it's intense now, and this is a quarter of a century later.
There's a lot of heat
really?
that came, just the feeling of, that's not taken too well, was it, at the time? Mm. And, people thinking, who's this guy, league guy coming here, and the black jersey and all that sort of stuff. I guess for me, at that time, people would have questioned what it meant to me and all this sort of stuff. And the thing that felt good was by the time I finished game number 60 into 11, everyone knew what it meant to me. And to this day, everyone, I felt like I showed what it meant to me to represent my country at birth and to represent the All Blacks, and that was an interesting time, and I think it was the right decision.
Yeah, so your All Black debut, that was in Hamilton, same day as Dan Carter.
Yeah.
What were the big insights that you got when you first made the All Blacks proper and got into that sort of squad environment between like what the Broncos were doing at the peak of their powers and the All Blacks? Just
the culture of it all, the winners, and that's the All Blacks. You got to understand that you put the jersey on, it's like a contract. Your job's to win, and that's not a joke.
Well, we've discovered that recently. 74% is not good enough.
Yeah. So, the competitiveness, the history of the All Blacks, the most winning team in world sport, I think, over a long period of time. So, it was special to be in there, and you're amongst the best, and you have great coaches, and you are, it's that excellence that you're trying to, you don't have, the All Blacks don't have a name like that. They've just been mediocre. They do things exceptionally well. And in the All Blacks, we talk about just your time in the jersey. I was late in the piece. There've been 100 years of that. The guys showing me and all, what it requires in that jersey. I was grateful for what they'd shown, and now I look to, like as a custodian sort of thing, my time, I will add to this, hopefully leave in a better place, or at least, how I found it. So, same with the Broncos. We were very proud to represent. We almost like represented the state a bit, the Broncos in the early days. And, there was I always felt there was a bit of a weight to the jersey of the responsibility, really, and the same with the All Blacks, to give your best effort and appreciate your time in that environment, in that jersey. It means so much to New Zealand.
Have you got like a a man cave at home or a games room or some jerseys hung up? What have you got?
I don't, no.
Where is everything? The rings, the medals?
Plastic bag somewhere, yeah. And the reason I do that, sometimes I've thought about putting stuff up and that. I don't have anything up, not a single thing. And I've got all the stuff. I've got like these big frame photos and all this sort of stuff. And my mindset is sort of like if someone comes into my house, because I have had a profile and been that, I sort of like, obviously there's people who know me and whatever, but say someone who doesn't know me come to my house, I like the chance of just getting to, they just...
No bread.
Yeah. Not be forced. And there's, to the people who put their stuff up, I reckon it's awesome. I'm just saying for me personally, if someone comes to my house, I don't want to force, all that stuff, I just want them to, you're just a guy, and like you said, probably you said it best, it's just Brad, and my wife Marianne, and welcome to our home, and, so yeah, not have that sort of, that's why I do that. It's crazy because there's like Heineken Cup medal, there's World Cup medals, and every now I got all these rings, where you win a premiership ring in league, and like once in blue moon, it's fun to pull it out and have a look at it. So yeah, end of the day though, it's not going to keep me company. It's not like it's not. Yeah, I mean, like it is. It's awesome when you cheat all those things, but we won in 211. 215, 219, 223. We're about to go into a fourth one. Bang, 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 moves on. Won my first grand final for the Broncos in 97. That's like, what's that? Like,
it's almost 30 years ago, 29 years ago.
Yeah, bang. The stuff that's more important than just people, yeah.
Who are you still? Who would you say you're still friends with in terms of players, like people that you catch up with on a regular basis? It gets harder when you get older. Right? You have your family and your own sort of communities.
Getting older, Tom, yeah. You're busy, 4 kids, and you're working and stuff. I just a lot of them is when you catch up with people and it's like you haven't seen them in ages, but it's straight away it's really good. So a lot of guys like that. Friends and all the footy guys, but I don't get to see them too much because I'm in, like with New Zealand, they have All Black reunions and they have these things. I'm in Brisbane, do you know what I mean? I'm lucky to go to Broncos things and I'm a life member there, I played 10 years and because you are busy, and I've always had this part of me where I don't like asking for anything either, and I feel like I have my time. At the Broncos, it's nearby me. I'm not a guy that sort of goes down, and I'm very supportive though. I'm supportive. So. Yeah.
Well, next time there's an All Blacks reunion here, you're going to be in big trouble. They're going to be like, well, you came over to New Zealand to do Dom's podcast.
There you go.
What was some of the coolest non-rugby related experiences of being an All Black? Like I know you got to meet the Queen.
That was cool, yeah.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah, I learned how to say, they sort of said to us, the Queen will walk around and you say mum. Not
like ma'am?
Not ma'am, and not mum, as in your mum, but mum. It's like that. It's funny, eh? It's so funny doing it. And but she is a sweet old lady, and she was tiny next to me. And I bent down and said, "Mum." Nice. It was nice to have a little chat to her, but all those things are cool.
It's wild, eh? Like this kid from Mosgiel meeting the Queen at the palace. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but the cool things, Dom, is playing at those stadiums. The stadiums are awesome. It was always my favourite time of year was the November series, playing at Croke Park. That was a place that was really pretty sacred to the Irish. They don't actually play. It's only Irish sport they play there, but they were rebuilding. I think they call it Aviva now or something, and so they use Croke Park. 75 or 80,000 people. Twickenham, Millennium, where it was so noisy they were singing, they do all their singing in Wales. I remember being in a scrum and I couldn't hear the saying to the referee, I need you to shout, because I'd say set, bang, but you got tape, you're in there like this, and those are they're pretty cool. When you sort of pinch yourself there, where you I was at Soweto Stadium, Nelson Mandela Stadium in Soweto, 94,000 South Africans singing their national anthem, which is an awesome one. You like their anthem? Have you heard that? It's a really cool anthem. And I remember it was to win a third test in a row, and it was John Schmidt's 100th game. I remember standing there before a test. I don't really want people touching me. Like, my job is to be physical, send physical messages. And I've got real, I guess, bad intentions, you know what I mean? Like, I talk about boxing, I'm there to be physical. So you're minutes away from getting amongst it, and there's pre-game stuff. But, like I said, respect the anthem, respect the haka. But they're singing their anthem, and I'm like standing there, like I'm just thinking, it's a heavyweight title fight.
I'm going to crush some souls.
I'm here to hit bodies, I'm here to, that's my job. The whole team as a tight head lock, my job is to assert authority, So I'm standing there, on edge, and I always stand on the end. I liked being down there because during their one, I wasn't stuck in between guys. I don't really want people all over me. I'm in a mood and a zone, and but anyway, they sing their anthem, 94,000, awesome anthem. I remember I had to smile. And I know that probably doesn't sound like much, but I don't smile when I'm in that sort of mood. And it was just like, I remember standing just going, how good is this? 94,000. Well, I'm a terrible singer, but it was just so cool to experience them, everyone just loving that moment. And then we got into bashing each other. So
does after having this long playing career with all these like exhilarating highs, does life seem like boring now? Or
it's like Robbie Dean said, coaching's the next best thing after playing. So now that I'm not coaching Super Rugby, I'm coaching First 15 and doing a few consultant things here and there, Malta and different things. They're fun in their own way, but nothing beats, playing at Twickenham or, a Springbok test at Loftus or, all that sort of stuff. So you just enjoy those memories, and you had your time, and you contributed and you got amongst it, added hopefully to the legacy, and you're happy for the guys doing their stuff now, But it's just a different time in your life, and far out, being able to have 4 kids, seeing them, I've got a son that's married, you got different things in your life and different purposes, that are so rewarding.
Mm. Oh, that's awesome. What about masculinity? What does masculinity mean to you now? I suppose when you were playing, it was what was the phrase you used before, like crushing bodies or something?
Sending physical messages or whatever. Yeah, that's the polite way. Yeah. But basically being a thug. No. But there's plenty of masculinity in my house, mate. Yeah, 3 sons. One's in the military now. I think I said that before.
Does he make his beard better than you?
Yeah, he probably does, I imagine. But we have a lot of banter. There's a lot of testosterone, and
does that sort of scratch the itch? Like, it feels like you've got this own sort of team in your household.
It's just the bond that we have with Thorns, and that's how we roll. Like I said, my dad and me wrestled. I never wrestled with my brother because, and my dad didn't either, because the old glazed eyes would come over.
The redness.
Yeah, me and my dad could always keep it, it would be kept good, but with the big guy, he couldn't be trusted. He'll probably hate me for saying that, but yeah, he would the switch would go over. So. But yeah, no, there's plenty of, we got our gym, and I brought the boys back a year or so ago. We went on a hunting trip down where I grew up and around Bannockburn. My cousin is a professional. We have great time, the boys and my daughter and my wife.
There's another couple of yarns in the book that I really love. Again, it's like, I don't know why you put this one in there. The one about you snapping at the professor, Sir Wayne Smith.
Yeah.
So he asked you, this was during the 2011 Rugby World Cup, he asked you to do some extra training. You told him to...
That wasn't during the World Cup. That was final week.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the grand finals. So, yeah. So he wanted me to do some new drill thing that helped the backs. And like, are you crazy, mate?
Did you swear? Do you ever swear? Did you swear?
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, swearing's something that I battle with. I prefer not to use.
It's the one part of the house that's not in order.
Yeah, my wife would say, "Come on," but you've always got work on. But yeah, I was like, I talked about before routine. So I got a routine. Me and Kevy do this on a Thursday. We sign off on our physicality that we're going to bring on Saturday. So me and Kevy, we do tackles. And we're hitting each other hard with a pad, and then we do 4 breakdown hits flying in, and try and throw each other off. And Kevy is really, I liked, because he's a great guy, being a shorter guy too, it forced me to get low and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Smithy's like trying to call me over for some new thing he wants to do. It's like Thursday. I'm like, what are you thinking, mate? Yeah, so I was like, yeah, my language wasn't good. I'm there to get a job done. Like, this is business time. Like 3 weeks out, when we got the quarterfinals, the round robin, wasn't interested, to be honest, apart from the build. That's when you see guys have big highlights packages and you beat Japan, you beat these lower teams, and there's all these great tries, and it's fantasy world, It's not, the real stuff's coming quarter, semi, and final. 3 grand finals you got to win. You got to earn the right to make the semi, earn the right to make the final. So yeah, you get so shutters came down for me. Once it come to the quarter final, start of that week, almost like it's relief, because now there's something on the line, and that's what makes me tick. I don't suit the round robin. There's no sort of nothing to be lost or won. Now I'm in my world with the stuff on the line. So I'm preparing, and I was like in a zone. And so, yeah, you can imagine, having told you all that, coming to like the Thursday before, or Friday, whatever it was, before we were playing the French in a World Cup final, after not winning, we hadn't won it in 24 years, all this sort of stuff. My last test, I'm 36. I didn't take that well. Yeah. I'm thinking, what, mate? Good enough, mate. What are you thinking?
Did you?
I'm not interested in your footwork thing for your backs or whatever. I'm not interested. Get out of my face with that. I don't want to know about. That's how I felt.
Did you feel bad about it later, or nah?
No. And that's why it says it, Smithy wrote in the book. He goes, he gets it. I would still say to this day, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Come on, man. He's the professor. Yeah. He should know better than that.
Another great yarn in the book is
get some other non-playing 23 guy to do that. Why are you asking me?
You get Stephen Donald. Maybe he can lose a couple of kilos before the final.
Stevie did a great job. Yeah.
The other great yarn I really like is it's such like an old man injury during COVID. Crusaders playing a game in Nelson. You go for a wander around in Jandals looking for a rugby league magazine in a dairy, and you injure yourself. Just from what happens?
I used to like getting, when I was in Australia, I used to like getting rugby news when I get on a plane, we go down and play in Sydney because I like my rugby. When I was in New Zealand, I'd get the rugby league week. When I was in Nelson, another time there was like a news agents. I sort of remembered I was there, someplace, and I went to go and get it was on game day, rugby league week, because I want to look at it. And I thought it's not too many streets too far away. Usually I put shoes on, and I was, I was 36 years old, so you've got to get more and more diligent around your body. And you're always real professional around all my preparation and that. But I just wore thongs. It's not going to be too much of a walk, go and get it. But I went and it wasn't there. And then I started walking around Nelson. I ended up walking for like 45 to an hour, probably an hour in thongs. And I reckon that it was on concrete, and I think that added up to me pinging my calf, and it was a scrum. And it was actually the best thing that happened to me because it gave me a break. I hadn't been injured. I've been playing a lot of games each year, and it gave me a freshener up that helped me to finish that Crusaders season, better and then go into the World Cup year. So that was actually a blessing because I was off to Africa. The next day they went off to Africa and I didn't go. Mm. And I'd just done a lot of footy over a lot of the years, and I'd wanted to have a bit more of a break that year, but Richie had his foot was been an issue the year before, and it was again. And Sam Whitelock got injured. I was supposed to not go to Africa, and all of a sudden now I'm going, and all this sort of stuff. It was a blessing. Mm.
It's just a crazy story to think this guy that's out there on the field, like trying to just crush people's souls, gets owned by a footpath in Nelson while looking for a rugby league magazine in a dairy. I
was dirty on myself. It just shows you. But I guess you're 36 years old, and you don't get that many 36-year-olds, playing at that level.
Yeah, true.
And you have to be diligent, and because at the end of the day, your body's aging. Mm. Yeah.
When do you feel truly at peace or truly happy these days?
I feel pretty good. Just fortunate. My faith is number one, so that gives me peace. And it's easy to say, at home on a nice Sunday it brings you peace. I mean, it brings me peace and good times and not so good times. You know what I mean? Mm. Having my wife and my kids, it's just what a privilege to be able to have that and to share life with them and to have some purpose around the work you do. I coach First 15 at one of the elite private schools at BBC, and just the enjoyment of those kid lads. Just a great game of rugby. Rugby is a character game. You have to play. It's a team sport, and you have to. The team's bigger than the individual for it to function well. You have to put, so all those good qualities you're pumping into those young guys, and so there's plenty to be thankful for, and generally feel in a pretty good space, mate. Yeah.
Do you still have any coaching aspirations?
When I finish with the Reds, it's sort of not like league where, if you finish with Manly, you've got the Roosters, the Sharks, the Panthers, you know what I mean? West Tigers. Yeah. You finish coaching the Queensland Reds, you've got to leave the state if you're going to coach or leave the country at that level. Do you know what I mean?
Titans?
League I haven't been involved in since 2007, but I wanted my kids to, we brought them back for stability and to have that Aussie upbringing, and my daughter finishes her final year of high school this year, and then maybe I start to think about perhaps overseas or doing some adventures. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh, the All Blacks. Would you want that job?
That's way above where, when I came into the Reds, I'd done 2 years of, under 20s, and they had an NRC, and I pretty much had to sink or swim. I just had to learn on the job. I always thought if I was to go that next level to do international, I want to be more than qualified. No, I went from league to union, and it was crazy. I had to learn all the stuff, and tested me. I went into coaching with no real experience, and it tested me and whatever, which is all well and good. But if I was to go that next level, I want to be almost overqualified, So that would be something, I imagine, years down the track if I got back into top level coaching. So yeah, if you're good enough, or if you're wanted, who knows?
What do you make of that whole recent All Black thing with your old teammate Razor?
It's a tough one, mate. Yeah,
it's brutal, eh?
Yeah, because if you think about it, I just think of myself at the Reds. 2 years in, we were like the bottom sort of, 9 million debt, and one of the sort of bottom Australian teams, and by the fourth year we won the Australian competition when it was the COVID stuff. 2 years in, you could have looked at me and just gone, it ain't working. Ian Foster, sorry. 2 years out, it looked like might have been Razor coming in then, if you remember.
Yeah.
He went to a World Cup with the guys in the team and led them in a World Cup to, was it 13-12? Then score 1 point.
Yeah, it was a very narrow loss in the final.
And they didn't have their captain and 7, important player in the team, for 60 minutes of the game. He could have been, looked like he might have been moved on then. So it's a hard one, if you have that time that you're trying to build and get to a space. So, but it's happened, and you have compassion for Razor, because I know him. He's a good guy. He's a friend, but yeah, there's a ruthlessness to that business, mate. And there's the famous saying, as a coach, as a head coach, you're either sacked or you're gonna be sacked. Have you heard that before?
No,
you heard that saying?
No, I haven't.
That's what it is. Yeah, you're either sacked or you're going to be sacked. So how's that? See what I mean?
Why would you want to do it?
That's what I'm saying. Like like you can put I had 6 years as head coach at Red. I can put in a massive week and we have a loss. We played a bad game. I can put in the same week and we win. If we win, you're the good guy. If you lose, you suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's thin margins between hero and villain.
Yeah. And it's lonely out front, And so, the thing I learnt from my coaching is, once again, you compassion for other coaches, because it's a tough old gig, It's like learning to be a tight end prop. You cop a lot of beat-ups on the way to getting to be a good space. Wayne Bennett got moved on. All the great, everyone. No one's immune to it. So.
Well, thanks for those insights. We've got a few questions, then we'll go. This is how are you finding this? Are you okay?
I've enjoyed talking to you, mate.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to it.
Oh, wonderful. Same here.
Yeah. Born on the same day.
Unbelievable. Like twins.
This is meant to happen.
A brother from another mother.
Yeah.
What are your best and worst habits?
Best habits. I guess, like I said, I like doing things reasonably well if I do them. Worst habits. I'm trying to think of what my wife would say. What about
Anne was here. What would she
I'm
say?
not good with like paperwork and stuff, you know.
Oh my God, maybe that's an Aquarius thing. I'm the same. Hopeless with admin.
And sometimes I don't get around to things, you know, so I get distracted.
Champions don't always do extra. When was the last time you cried?
Cried. Like I said before, the secret's out. I'm a real softie, so sometimes I'll shed some. Do you know what's embarrassing? I don't know when the last time I cried, but I like Les Mis. You know,
the musical.
Yeah. I love,
That's a shock.
I love classical music. I love all sorts of things. But
that wasn't your pre-hype music.
I shed tears in Les Mis, and you know where the lady, she can't. She's trying to find. Loses her job, and is it Fontaine? I can't remember the lady's name. And I shed a tear in that movie. So it's embarrassing to say, but it's out there. Yeah.
Well, that's probably the biggest surprise out of this whole podcast today.
Mate,
I was not expecting that. Is there a mistake that you wish you could go back and correct?
It's probably heaps. I can't think on top of, you know, I just think life sort of plays out, and I just feel like, the one thing about making mistakes is, you know, hopefully you learn from them. So I could say taking on the head coaching. But no, I can't think of anything top of my head. But,
That's good. What are you most afraid of?
My anxiety, sometimes I battle a bit with anxiety and, you know, social sort of anxiety of, you know, being in front of a lot of people, you know, with all the attention on you, you know, speaking or whatever. That's something that, you know, I've battled with over time, which I talk about as well.
Yeah, you do. That's something I had on my card, but we didn't really talk about in the podcast. But anxiety, like to the point where in your early days in the Broncos, you went for team meetings, you'd sit closest to the door, just in case you had to make a hasty exit.
It was more mental, just a mental thing.
It is a mental, It's like.
But what I mean was being next to the door, having it in a jar, was just mentally like. It just worked for me, you know, so being stuck in a corner where I felt like I sit there thinking I can't get out of here if I wanted to, which makes no sense. But, you know, that's in my family, and I think that's probably a big part of my granddad's, you know, with the alcohol, probably trying to deal with that, like, you know.
PTSD from the war, probably a coping mechanism.
Yeah, I think he even had that before the war, so it's just in our family.
Yeah.
I have cousins and stuff like that who battle away, but so,
You were in Christchurch in 2011 during the earthquakes. How was your anxiety during that time?
That doesn't faze me. It's more like me getting up in front of a whole heap of people, you know what I mean? The earthquakes, like that first one rolled in, the 7.1, I remember it was 4 a.m. and I jumped out of bed and, you know, it's crazy. But I remember lying in bed, getting back in bed with my wife, you know, growing up in Australia. And I remember when I was little, I was trying to say to my wife, there's some things you're supposed to do when there's an earthquake. I was thinking, get down low, go. That was a fire one in Australia or something. I was thinking, I wonder what we're supposed to do. And then we ended up just falling back to sleep. That's after the 7.1. 2 of my kids slept through it. One slightly roused, and because they were little ones then. We just try to keep calm around all that, and that helped the kids be in a good space with it too.
If they were here, your kids, what 3 words would you like them to use to describe you?
Hopefully loving, be number one. Fun. Well, I like to think we have a lot of fun. What would be the third one? Loving's caring. Struggling for the third one. Hopefully they'd feel as protective. I feel like I'm a pretty protective guy. I think that it probably with my footy came through, with my teammates. I really suited being a tight head lock because I have to look after my prop. I like looking after the young guys. If you saw me play, Richie, I'd look out for him, if I felt guys were having a go at him. So with my kids, I guess I have been pretty protective of them. They're just so special to you, aren't they? So, yeah, that would be my 3 words.
They're great words. Do you tell them you love them all the time, or is it not that sort of...
Yeah, we're pretty affectionate. Like I said, I'm a softie, so I give my daughter hugs, and the sons, they're going about their thing. We're not hugging all the time, but it might be a bit of a shoulder charge as I'm walking past the hall. But we have a real good connection. We're a tight family, and we did a lot of travelling. The kids, Japan, Ireland, England. We lived in these different places, and we're a real tight family. The kids are tight. We're tight. And it's just cool, mate. Yeah.
Fuck, you love it, eh?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's hard to know if any of this would have happened if you didn't reconnect with Jesus.
Yeah, Marianne, she, like I said, I married my best friend, and to be blessed with 4 kids. Just so grateful, and it's been super cool. And as you said, I just thank the Lord for all that I have, and I know that in that time there's been ups and downs, there's highs and lows, and I know going forward there will be too. But I know that there's purpose in my life with the Lord, and I'm grateful.
Brad Carnegie Thorn, are you proud of yourself?
I feel good about cracking into things,
Yeah. Mate, you've done some incredible stuff. Not just in terms of your playing career, but in your personal life as well. What's wrong with a straight answer?
Probably you get so used to being. Maybe it's the footy, doing professional sport for so long, because you're always often all downplay with the media. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you're actually right about that instead of just saying, "Hey, yeah, I am." Maybe it's just
probably a Kiwi thing. Like, oh, that guy's full of himself.
Yeah, it could be that as well. Yeah, I don't know, but
are you proud of yourself?
Good. Yeah, I guess I am, and I'm grateful, and I'm appreciative, and I'm proud of our family, and all that. So yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you doing this podcast today. It's been bloody brilliant. And, I wish you all the best for whatever's next in the chapter of your life, Brad Thorn.
Thank you, mate. It's been awesome meeting you, mate, and sharing this time. Just having a real good chat. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Thanks, brother. Awesome.